Apparently, after losing to Ghosts one too many times, the man right over here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the Red Terran SCVs, he's decided to switch to the race that has Ghosts himself. We're looking at none other than Reynor's main command center, who, yes, is going to be playing Terran in this best of 3 series. Now, we've seen him do that in the past as well, whenever he goes up against Zergs with Protoss. He switched to Protoss many times in previous tournaments, but this time around, he's facing off against the Zerg, and he decided, well, to play Terran instead. I haven't really seen him play Terran, at least not in a very long time, so I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down. Now, his opponent right here in the top left-hand corner, playing with the pink Zerg pieces. We're looking at the main base of msrm. Now, I'm not sure how familiar Reynor is with msrm. I've played against msrm a bunch of times, and I remember this guy to be a very cheesy... how do I say this nicely? Yeah, a very cheesy Zerg player. This man is not afraid to play hyper aggressively. Now, this is round number 1 of the BGE, an offline tournament that just wrapped up in Bulgaria. I didn't actually know this, but it turns out, well, msrm is from Bulgaria. I've played against him quite a bit. He is I think like a mid to low grandmaster player on the European server, something along those lines, at least when we were playing against each other. He may have gotten a lot better since then. It's been a little while, but he always cheesed, and he always played, well, build orders like this. I can imagine that Reynor feels quite confident in his conventional Terran versus Zerg, but I'm not 100% sure how comfortable he's going to be against build orders that he would never really play himself. So let's see, it's a double barracks opener here for Reynor. That feels cursed in my mind. There's even a third barracks going up right now inside of the main base that, technically speaking, should be quite good. The problem is he doesn't really know what he's going up against. Is he gonna spot the creep? He just barely does not spot the creep. So that creep spread is just... I mean, nah, there's no way you pick up on that. That's a little too far away. He doesn't notice it on the minimap either. He's gonna find out that something is a little off right now, because at this point you would expect there to be a hatchery. Reaper decides to go back home. He's scouting on his side of the map. This would be the most likely location for a proxy hatch. This would be the second most likely location. This would be the third. I have not actually seen an all-in from Zerg from this particular position before. And even though Reynor may have like 1,500 MMR on msrm, at least with his Zerg, I'm not sure how this is gonna play out right now. This is gonna be very cheesy here from the Zerg, but at the same time, he doesn't really need to deal that much damage. The main problem here for the Terran player is that he doesn't have a quick second command center. Now, it's a second bunker going up here instead for Reynor. Roaches are gonna be able to morph into Ravagers. Ravagers will spawn with full HP. I don't think the Zerg is going to be giving up on this. There we go. So if you have a damaged Roach and you morph it into a Ravager, it will always spawn with full health. We're going to go for a lot of bunkers. Okay, he does get the snipe on one of the creep tumors. That's good. Nice control there by the Zerg. It takes about 8 corrosive biles to one-shot a bunker. So for now, Reynor is going to be fine. But I believe that the Ravager count is growing. I wonder if Reynor should be going in for the counterattack instead. As long as he keeps the... We need to make sure that we keep every Ravager alive, though, but he doesn't really need to micro it all too much. Nice push here so far by the Zerg player. My question is, how good is this counterattack going to be? msrm starts up a whole lot of Roaches now at home. The Queen has disappeared, and the drones are gonna go down. In the meantime, though, SCVs are falling as well. Inside of the natural expansion of the Terran, a lot of bunkers may be built, but we're getting to the point where Zerg can just right-click onto each of those bunkers. SCVs are dying, but keep in mind that Reynor, of course, has access to mules. So if, hypothetically speaking, both players lose all of their workers, I can imagine that it's still better for the Terran than it is for the Zerg. I mean, I guess there is a second base for msrm if he wants to mine from that one, but that is not on his mind right now. He's thinking about just killing as much as he can. Another mule does indeed land on that mineral line. The corrosive biles are very dangerous, but so are those Reaper grenades. This is starting to look like a ridiculous game. Because who wins this? There's 5 drones remaining for msrm. There are 5 SCVs remaining right now for the Terran. Problem is, I think the Zerg army is much better here. Yeah, I say that. Yeah, at this point, the numbers are no longer there. Nah, I think this is good for Reynor. I think. Kills another one of those. Are we just gonna continue mining right now? Are we just gonna go back to playing a macro game? Reinforcing roaches. Oh my god, those were the ones that he made in the main base to kill those Reapers. I didn't realize that there were still that many coming across the map. I was looking at the supply count and it was looking mighty fine for MSRM. I think this is fine. I think this is fine for the Zerg. Yeah. Command center gets lifted off. SCVs are in a world of trouble. Brenda over here is trying desperately to stay alive. He's going after the bunker. Now keep in mind that you do need SCVs to actually repair bunkers. I wonder if it's better for Reynor to salvage and get additional Marines out instead. It's really hard to say. Creep spread is going to continue onwards. There's now 0 SCVs remaining for the Terran. He's going to be able to get a mule out whenever he's got 50 energy on the orbital command, aka every 50 seconds or so. In the meantime, there's 7 drones mining at home. Guys, I think MSRM has this one in the bag. This is a very strange turn of events. I mean, he doesn't have anything ready to defend at home, though, so hold up. I wonder if Reynor should be chasing instead, but he's busy microing at home, trying to keep those mules alive. Now, fun fact, mules have no attack animation. They cannot attack. Drones have snuck away. They're going to be mining from this, well, proxy hatchery instead. I guess as long as the queens are there and as long as the roaches and ravagers are on standby to try and shut down the Reapers, you should be fine. One of the barracks goes down. Keep in mind that Reynor does not have any mining now for several minutes already, but it's not like MSRM really has anything to write home about. The Reapers do find a decent engagement. Only 3 drones remain. Another Reaper falls. Command Center is trying to find a location where it can mine, but MSRM has smartly parked an Overlord on all the likely candidates. So he will see that there will be another mule. He's got enough energy right now. This is Reynor's economy. Roaches are coming in around the site. The Reaper grenades are decent. Obviously, the Reapers do regenerate out of combat very rapidly. In the meantime, the mule has brought in just enough minerals to squeeze out 1 more Marine. Reynor really just trying to drag those Ravagers away right now. I think MSRM should probably split up his units. Yeah, he decides to send the low HP Roach in this direction. And I think that's the smart play. Now Reynor is not going to be able to do anything for the next half minute or so. He's not going to have any income. I did see a single Marine on the production tab. There's 2 of them out in total. Reynor hunting down that low HP Roach. Queen, however, has energy, and I would love to see a transfusion. There we go. I think Reynor went into this series thinking, okay, Zerg versus Zerg, dangerous matchup. I might just get cheesed out in a quick best-of-3 series. And even though I'm the clear favorite, Zerg versus Zerg is still Zerg versus Zerg. It's very easy to accidentally lose. And this is what happens, apparently, when maybe you feel a little overly confident against the opponent. He didn't quite expect this level of cheese here. I think MSRM is winning game number 1 at the very least. Now, there's once more enough energy here on the orbital command to land another mule. Reynor not sniping down those drones when they went across the map was a gigantic blunder. This is a donation of a Roach, though, which is also quite suboptimal. What do you do right now as the Zerg? Do you go back to droning? Probably not. He currently has got a couple drones at home again. I wouldn't mind seeing one of them at least shifted into the gas geyser. He's making 2 more workers. Nice grenades! If he can win the game with 3 Reapers, I'm gonna lose my mind. The Queen is accumulating energy, though, at a similar rate as the orbital command. Both of them are waiting until they have enough energy for, well, their main spell right now. Those grenades are really nice, though. Yeah, Reynor is going to have to micro his butt off in order to make this one work. Queen is the only line of defense. What about one spine crawler? I know it's expensive, but losing the drones here is even more expensive. In the meantime, though, the Ravagers have shut down the Mule, and 2 SCVs managed to slither away. The Zerg was busy looking over here at this engagement. All of a sudden, Reynor does still have 2 SCVs remaining. This game could actually last a very long time still. He's trying to kill... Okay, that's Spore. Spore does get cancelled. 6 drones remain, 4 of which are inside of the main base of the Zerg player. That's where the Reapers are headed right now. The Overlords are still scouting out the location. SCVs are hiding off to the side. Reynor decides to fly the command center on over in that spot. Reapers have now found that new base. 1 Marine was made out of the barracks up north. Oh, almost gets to drone, but the Queen decides to protect her brood. Drones go down. 3 workers remain right now for the Zerg. Where are they? Okay, they're hiding over here on the left side of the map in the natural expansion of the Zerg player. New Mule gets found immediately, and at this point the SCV hiding spot has also been located. Now Reynor smartly only showed 1 of his SCVs. Queens in the meantime, there's a second queen, but another drone does fall. Drones from the natural expansion go back to mining. They should definitely be on minerals. SCVs are in a world of trouble. Mule goes down. I mean, ultimately, we're gonna have, I think, a fight between like 2 Reapers. 3 Reapers, maybe. Did he lose a Reaper? Oh, yeah, he must have lost a Reaper to the Queen, I guess. Ultimately, we're gonna have a fight. Oh, hold up. Was that the last mining? msrm has no mining. He also does not have any way to make a drone right now. There is no drone. And that means that all he can do is spend his last little bit of money on 1 additional Ravager. What he does have is corrosive biles. Now, technically, if Reynor wanted to, he could probably fly 1 of those barracks to the corner of the map and force a draw. Worst case scenario. Because he doesn't obviously know at this point that Zerg isn't mining, although he's going to spot that right now. He can force a draw. He can actually force a draw. Nah, he's never going to win this fight. He might be honorable and tap out, but this could be a draw. Because there is no way for msrm to make any form of anti-air that could reach the corner of the map. Okay, Reynor decides to tap out. This is technically not a situation where Zerg could win. But it's not unheard of at least in the tournament level, right? Maybe if this was like a late round in an important match, it's not unheard of for the Zerg to tap out at this point in time. But technically speaking, there was no way for msrm to have, well, for example, reached 1 of those barracks that was flying over here in the corner of the map. Either Reynor didn't know it, but I think he had full vision of it because he just checked the main base and he just checked this location of the map too. Either he didn't know it or he decided to be honorable. Either way, we find ourselves on Crimson Court, which is going to be game number 2 in this best of 3 series, and msrm is once again sending out a drone. I'm here for it, man. I don't think I expected this scoreboard. Do you think Reynor should have tapped out? It would have been completely fine for him to let that game go to a draw. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know there are some people out there that will consider that to be a bad-mannered move or like a BM decision. I personally don't care. I think if that was me, I probably would have been a jerk. And I think I would have let that game go to a draw and we'll replay the map. That being said, it is very much so a personal decision. And there is certainly a chance. Maybe I'm a jerk. I don't know. There is certainly a chance that Reynor simply did not know. It certainly is right to draw it, but it's still a bit of a jerk move. Anyways. Oh god, dude. Reynor losing this series. So this is the first round he gifted GLHF after finding the proxy hatch. This is the first round of an offline tournament. So these players traveled to this venue. They, went over here specifically to play the event. Let's see what we can do. This is very winnable, though, for the Zerg player. So last time around, Reynor technically had all the tools at his disposal. He just messed up. right? I think the drone transfer from the main base of the Zerg all the way to the other side of the map, those drones should have never arrived. He sent like 7 drones, and I think 4 of them ended up making it. It's because Reynor was busy multitasking at the same time in his natural expansion, so his target firing was not quite on point. Obviously, he's playing Terran. A little bit of a different race. But I wonder if maybe he was underestimating his first round opponent just a little bit. Second gas guys are coming up in the main base. Roach Warren once again building. Obviously, msrm is still a Grandmaster player. It's not like, you know, he has no idea what he's doing. But generally speaking, I'm fairly sure if I play 100 games in a row against Reynor, I would probably lose all 100. At least assuming they are straight up games. It's a very noticeable difference at the highest level. The players are extremely good. So, once more, we have a bit of an all-in here. How is it going to work this time around? Well, Reynor has decided to go for a different approach entirely. Rather than going into the Reapers, we are going into Cyclones now instead, and I'm assuming we're gonna see... Oh, we could even go Banshee. Liberator would be good, but I wouldn't mind a Medevac. I think a Medevac would be kind of neat. You can micro this a lot. Okay, he's gonna go Banshee instead. Overlords, by the way, are here to provide high ground vision. The idea is that Zerg can rain their corrosive biles in between a couple of these spots. So he will only have to fly this Overlord a couple of centimeters forward, and he should find himself in a position where life is okay. Yep, here we go. Ovi's moving. Now the Ravagers can start raining biles. He should certainly be landing them, though, on top of the barracks, too. Just a tiny little bit forward. You can land on both structures with full damage. Problem is, though, for the Zerg player right now, there is a Banshee coming up. This is a 1-base 1-1-1 right here from the Zerg. Or from, well, the Terran, who used to be a Zerg player, or who usually is a Zerg player. It's a 1-1-1 into a command center. Ravagers trying to get some work done. This is going to supply block Reynor. Command center is coming up. It's only about halfway done. Reynor is going to send the Banshee towards the other side of the map instead. There is a Queen here, and there is also a Lara morphing. I think msrm is playing a more economically focused game here than Reynor is thinking about. Command center is going to have a hard time finding any mineral line that will not be gooped up in creep. There's actually a respectable amount of drones available right now here for the Zerg player. What is he going to use the Lair for, though? That's my question. I don't think it's going to be a Nidus. It could be Mutas? What? Infestation Pit? Are we going to go Swarm Host? There's no way this is for Hive, right? Anyways, he's going to need an Overseer at home. He technically has all of the tools to deal with this Banshee, but this Banshee is going to go to town. Drones are going to fall at home in the meantime, and this is going to hurt Zerg quite a bit. Spore Crawler will finish eventually, but we really should have morphed in a Spore Crawler. Ugh, this is kind of ugly here. Ravagers will be able to get within range of the Cyclones, but 2 of the Ravagers will pay the price. Nice targeting right there by Reynor. He has now also cornered some of these units, allowing the Marines and the Siege Tank from the main base to get into position. Banshee, in the meantime, is going to kill the Queen as well, and now it can just hang out here on hold position, and suddenly everything is falling apart right here for the Zerg. Reynor forced to play a difficult game, though. This is not one that he really wanted to play, I don't think, but I think he's navigating it well. It's a very delicate one, because there's many things that could have gone horribly wrong. I still wonder if he's overextending here a little bit with this attack, but the fact of the matter is that Zerg has not really got that many drones anymore. We're now back to the worker count that the game started with. Reynor, in the meantime, is all the way up to 32, plus he will have the option to get 2 mules at a time. This creep tumor is far enough forward, however, to block that command center for now. New Queen just spawned, and finally one of the Banshees goes down. Siege Tank here gets killed by drones of all units. Reynor decided to go for a Raven on the back of this. That's all nice. Yeah, I think this one is in the back right now for Reynor. Pretty much no way out of this here for msrm. Raven is gonna be sweet for cleaning up creep. Would you look at that? Whoa. I think he wanted to see where the queen was at. Oh! You saw the queen? But there was an overseer to go alongside it as well. Siege tank within a range. That is gonna make it pretty easy here, I think, for the Terran to keep everything going. Creep tumors are gonna get shut down. Looks like well, maybe actually the orbital could land after all. Maybe it was a different creep tumor already that went down. msrm has decided to go for one final hurrah here. We've got about 5 Ravagers. There is still a banshee, however. Maybe a new banshee, actually. Yeah, I think going for an additional banshee there was a very clever choice. This queen is too low in HP. And right now, the Terran economy should start, well, really booming. He's going to be able to bring out way more units than msrm is going to be able to contest with. So as long as Reynor just buys a little bit of time, he'll be okay. Yeah. Now, I like that this was a little bit of build order variety, though, from msrm, right? It looked like an identical strat, but it wasn't. Very cool. GG. Alrighty. Our final game. It will take place on Amphion. Now, are we gonna go for... Yeah, of course we are. We're gonna once more go for a proxy hatchery. Now, to clarify, the reason why Reynor is playing Terran in this series rather than Zerg, obviously he's one of the very best Zerg players in the world. However, the Zerg versus Zerg matchup is extremely volatile. Meaning that, yes, better players usually win, but the margin for error is extremely small. There's a lot of cheeses and a lot of hard counters to build orders where you accidentally lose. Like, say, for example, your opponent decides to go for an early game all-in and you went for a hatchery first. Yes, it's winnable with a hatchery first, but you have to micro pretty much perfectly. And since everything moves around so extremely quickly, right? Everything moves at a very high speed. It's super easy to mess up. So I think in order to reduce the variance, Reynor decides to, in these sort of rounds, early on into a tournament at least, to not focus on playing Zerg instead, but just to focus on the other races. Obviously, he's going to be a very formidable Terran and Protoss. You will see the proxy hatchery once again. He's going to be very formidable with those two races, but these are situations, right, that he will not really have practice with Terran. I can imagine Reynor has a whole lot of games logged with Terran and Protoss alike, but these are not strategies that are played usually at the professional level. So how much practice has he got about this, or against this? Well, I think right now he's got 2 games. I think he's got 2 games worth of practice against this particular strategy, because I don't think he's ever seen this before. When he is playing Terran himself, he probably tries these strategies from time to time with Zerg. So he's got an understanding from the opposite point of view. But I can imagine this is not necessarily an easy one right here for Reynor to dissect. Yeah, maybe him trying. So I don't know what the tournament rules are, right? There's a lot of tournaments in StarCraft 2 that will allow you to race switch during a series. This is one of the rules that gets talked about quite a bit. Should it be allowed for players to change the race after starting up the map vetoes? Or do you have to decide what race you play for the entire series ahead of time? Because obviously map vetoes are very, very specific for a series and for a matchup. So I personally believe that you should be freely able to choose whatever race you play for each map, because I think it is a more enjoyable experience for viewers, for commentators alike. But at the same time, I understand that the pro gamers don't really like variance that much. They would like to know what they're in for. And when, well, playing games is your livelihood, right? Winning tournaments is your livelihood. If you suddenly have to deal with stuff that you normally don't deal with, I can imagine it can be quite frustrating. At the same time, it is very difficult to play multiple races. Because when you think about it, Reynor would have to practice more matchups than, for example, msrm here. But anyways, he seems to be good at playing Terran so far. Maybe he's been a little frustrated against Ghost lately. I don't think he's gonna get the Ghost in this series. Not at this rate anyways, but here we go. First Cyclone is out. Gonna deal a bit of damage. It's difficult for Zerg to get high ground vision here, though, and with this Overlord being pushed back and maybe even killed. Woo! Yeah. This is a bit of a disaster right now for the Zerg player here. As long as he holds the high ground, Reynor is gonna be A-okay. Keep in mind, though, that he doesn't have a second command center of his own, but he's once again going for a 1-base 1-1-1. I like what msrm is doing here for a best-of-1 series. I can imagine this is a very effective strategy on the ladder, but I don't think it's a good strat to do 3 times in a row in a tournament. Because right now, Reynor is not playing against Zerg anymore. Well, he is, but he's playing against the opponent, right? Like, he's opening up 1 base, barracks, factory, starport, which is not the norm at all. Normally, there will be a command center long before this point. Usually before, well, at least the starport goes down, right? So this is a very delayed expansion for Reynor, but it turns out to be the perfect counter against the build that msrm has now shown us twice in a row. He's once again doing a bit of a different flavor, going for the Spore Crawler, because he is expecting that there will be a banshee once again. Fair enough. Maybe we'll see what the infestation pit was for this time around. Then again, though, I guess the alternative here for msrm is to either play a different flavor of cheese or to play a macro game against Reynor's Terran. And even though Reynor is not normally a Terran player, I can guarantee you that his macro is still going to be very good and his speed will still be ridiculous. So there is once again an infestation pit. There's a very good chance, let me put it like this. There's a very good chance that Reynor's Terran is higher MMR than some of the Terrans that I frequently cast on my channel. For a little while on the European ladder, the highest ranked Protoss in Grandmaster League was Klim. For a little while on the Korean server, Maru was the highest ranked Protoss. Reynor's gonna go Fusion Core? Okay. Well, maybe we're... it could be Liberator range, but I don't think so. I think Reynor wants to... This has to be a battlecruiser. This has to be a battlecruiser. It's a ballsy move. But you know what? It would be within character, right? And it would be one hell of a way to win a series. Playing your off race, winning with battlecruisers against somebody going proxy hatch. 400 minerals, though, and 300 gas for a 1 BC. And can he spare that money right now? I don't think so. No, I don't think he can really afford it. Problem is that even if you do spend the money on a BC... Oh, he starts it! What did he just cancel? Sorry, he didn't have that money. Did he cancel something? I went back like 10 seconds in the replay. He does not... No, I think he cancels the siege tank. No, there's no way. Yeah, he cancels the siege tank. Cancels the siege tank and starts up a battlecruiser. This is gonna be the slowest battlecruiser that has ever been built. But if it comes out, this is basically an unlosable game. And you know what? What are the odds right now of the Zerg here expecting? There's a lot of queens here, by the way. What was the swarm, or sorry, what is the Nidus, or what infestation pit thing called? Like, what are we making it for? What's the point? Swarm hosts! Now, guys, I don't want to say it, but I've got a feeling battlecruisers are pretty good against swarm hosts. I think. I think. These queens can buy a bunch of time, but last time I checked, they are the only anti-air unit right now here for msrm. Big Daddy Battlecruiser is here. Oh, we're gonna just jump it? Yeah, he doesn't care much about Spore Crawlers. That's still gonna make things a little bit messy, though. Queen will go down, Spore Crawler will go down, sure. Here's the banshee joining in the fray as well. In the meantime, the Locusts have flown into the natural expansion. As long as all of these tanks live, which they do, the bunkers and the siege tanks live, everything will be A-okay. I love that banshee joining in. She's like, I'm part of dealing damage too. Right, great job. But as the drones are running away, she is indeed going to be the reason why the Zerg economy is plummeting. Drones are making a run for that base on the other side of the map. Battlecruiser in the meantime is killing everything. That Spore Crawler is not going to live, and with it, 11 confirmed kills right there on the BC. 6 right now on the Banshee. Here's the final commitment, I think, from the Zerg player. And even if one of the tanks dies due to friendly fire, which it won't because Reynor is on sieging, there is just never going to be enough stuff. It's Reynor who wins, well, one of my favorite series that I've seen in quite a while. GG.